Once again, an unlikely Fox News host was forced to fact-check a top Trump advisor on live TV when that advisor tried to peddle one of the dumbest and most easily debunked lies in modern politics. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bells before you go. All right, friends, we have a couple of clips to look at in this video. This is probably not the most pertinent news, but in the grand scheme of things, I do think it's incredibly dangerous because it just goes to show how dishonest the modern Republican Party is, even on long settled issues. They will do everything in their power to create a false equivalence when they know deep down in their hearts, in the howling abyss that is their souls, that Donald Trump is just objectively worse on an issue, which tends to be most issues. They'll try to create a false equivalence between Trump and a Democrat so as to undermine the severity of Donald Trump's wrongness. And Corey Lewandowski, who is a top Trump advisor and surrogate to the Trump campaign, tried to peddle this ridiculous, easily debunked lie during an interview on the Fox Propaganda Network. And Howard Kurtz, not for the first time, had to fact check a top Trump advisor on this lie.
Is when Donald Trump won the election in 2016, a number of Democrats refused to even acknowledge his success. Hillary Clinton called him an illegitimate president dozens of times. We know that. Members of the Congress refused to show up at his inauguration because they said he wasn't properly elected. They said it was Russian interference. It's just not true. The bottom line is when Donald Trump wins this election, there'll be a peaceful transition of power, and he will be the 47th president of the United States.
I do have to point out that while Hillary Clinton certainly said those things, she did concede the election the next day. Now,
what a stupid grin on Lewandowski's face. Let me play the last 3 seconds of this and see if he gets any last shot in.
Negative coverage over.
No, it's that awkward grin just increases because, of course, Lewandowski's not an idiot. Believe it or not, there are people in Trump's orbit who are not stupid and who are actually very intelligent and which in many ways just makes their subordination to this man all the more offensive because it's not like they're too stupid to know better. They're actually quite smart. So we're going to play another clip of Howard Kurtz in just a minute because, again, it's not the first time he's had to do this. He's probably really tired of it by now. But a couple of things. So Hillary Clinton did publicly concede the 2016 election to Donald Trump. She held a press conference. There were people physically in the crowd. There were cameras rolling. It was hours after the 2016 election. It was televised in a speech. She formally, publicly conceded the election to Trump. Prior to doing that, she did what most losing candidates do, which is she called Donald Trump privately to congratulate him and conceded the election to him on the phone. Donald Trump never formally or publicly conceded the 2020 election. It's never happened. So Hillary did something honorable and correct and public that Donald Trump has never done. Hillary Clinton is morally superior. Hillary Clinton showed up to Donald Trump's inauguration. Corey Lewandowski was whining that some Democrats protested and didn't show up to Donald Trump's inauguration, which you can say that that's an act of pettiness, right? Because usually inaugurations are supposed to be a sign of national unity. That's fair. That's fine. But by that standard, Donald Trump is just as bad, if not worse, since he was the incumbent president during the 2020, the 2021 inauguration, January 20, 2021, when power was transferred to President Biden. He didn't show up. He is the first president, perhaps ever, certainly in modern history, to not show up to his successor's inauguration, even if it's from an opposite party. Obama showed up to Trump's inauguration. Hillary Clinton, along with President Clinton, turned up to Trump's inauguration, but Donald Trump wouldn't show up President Biden's inauguration. So by Corey Lewandowski's own standard, again, Donald Trump is objectively worse than the Democrats. So really strange stuff that he would create this false equivalence because you see, again, they have no answer for this. They have no equivalent. They know that Donald Trump is by far worse on the issue of respecting the outcome of elections than any Democrat. You could stack up all the instances of every Democrat saying some sort of, perhaps intemperate thing. Hillary Clinton did later on in Trump's presidency a few times in public refer to him as an illegitimate president. Of course, the Texas Republican Party has it written in their charter, in their platform, that President Biden is an illegitimate president. So again, it seems like every time you find an example of a Democrat doing a thing, a Republican has done it more frequently and to a greater extent. But even if you gather all the instances of Democrats talking smack about Trump, they never staged a coup. There was never an insurrection. There was never attempts to sue their way into the White House. And again, we're gonna touch on that again. But I mentioned there was another clip. Howard Kurtz of Fox News had to do this before, and we've done a video on this. And that's why when I saw this exchange between Kurtz and Lewandowski, I went back down memory lane, because Howard Kurtz really humiliated former Republican Speaker Kevin McCarthy on this very issue just a few months ago, when McCarthy tried to do what Lewandowski just did as a top Trump advisor, to create a false equivalence between Trump and the Democrats. And I want you to, just as a reminder, I want you to watch this awkward exchange, and I want you to watch McCarthy crumble in real time.
These people talk about a democracy.
Danger to democracy.
They are the dangers to try to deny democracy to this country. This is really concerning to me, what the Biden and the Democrats have done. I mean, I
want to get into the trial more in the next segment.
But has Hillary ever said she lost the 2016 election?
Yeah, she called Donald Trump and conceded.
But she never in press ever says that. She says it was.
She did call Donald Trump and concede. Yeah. All right, so let's.
Okay. All right, fine. She did the thing that I asked about, but did she do this other thing? So pathetic. Guys, the reason, again, I feel that this is important is because there's so many substantive policy disagreements that we can have legitimately on the merits. Obviously, I still align almost always with the Democrats on policy compared to Republicans, but, we can quibble over what a particular tax rate should be for a particular tax bracket, right? There's a subjectivity to that. You can have your policy preferences, but respecting the peaceful transfer of power and recognizing the outcomes of free and fair elections, you can't possibly have effective policy if the constitutional framework collapses. Policy can only exist within that framework, right? And Donald Trump, what he did in the 2020 election was a complete defiance of that. Trump tried to sue his way into the White House, into a second term, 60 court cases, more than 60, and he lost, I think, all but one. He conspired with Republicans across the country to send fake electors to defraud the American people, fake, illegal, unlawful electors for which he has been repeatedly indicted, to try to defraud the majority of voters, because remember, he lost the popular vote, in order to install himself as a president for a second unelected term. He tried to pressure the vice president of the United States, who has a ministerial, ceremonial role, to certify the results of an election. They just they just read the things as written on the cards, swing a gavel and move on. No discretion. He tried to get Vice President Pence to just toss out the results and name Trump the victor. And it's like, okay, imagine Democratic Vice President Al Gore doing that in 2000. Okay, Republicans, could Gore have done that to President Bush in 2000? Could then Vice President Joe Biden in 2016, a Democrat, do that? Could he have done that to Donald Trump in 2016? And all the examples we could cite of a Democrat being in the position to throw out a Republican's votes, they would say, no, that's different. Democrats just need to respect the outcome. Except, of course, when it's a Republican, then it's like, okay, well, honestly, there's probably a constitutional argument to make that maybe a Republican vice president should be able to do whatever they want. These people are pathetic. They're liars. They're hypocrites. They're losers. They genuinely deserved your contempt. I believe that. These are people who know better. These are people who should be setting an example, and instead they're abusing their platform, their power and authority to peddle lies and spread misinformation, such that, again, even Howard Kurtz, who is not Neil Cavuto, certainly not Jessica Tarlov, even he is like, oh, God, yes, she actually did publicly concede, you morons, something Trump has never done. I think it's hilarious that he's like constantly finding himself as being the fact checker in this one respect every single time. He always seems to find these MAGA Republican losers who want to peddle that particular lie. But that lie is still alive and well. And MAGA Republicans, I assure you, are going to continue to peddle it as the election draws near and even afterwards. So food for thought. In the meantime, let me know what you think in the comments.